Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a review of the Unremarkable Jaunquini, also known as Chichipatos, which just dropped on Netflix today. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, give it a dislike, no hard feelings. So let's get into the review. So initially I was pretty, you could say interested. You could say interested in watching this series. I thought that the plot summary or the premise was actually quite interesting and could potentially be a good watch. The plot summary is it's about this magician who is a bad magician but somehow manages to make a drug lord disappear after he's hired for their party right before a police raid, and that disappearance has caused a lot of problems for the magician and his family. So I was thinking, okay, on paper this plot actually seems quite decent. Then I saw that it was a comedy. Then I was a bit like, okay, so this is either going to be really good or really bad. And in terms of where the spectrum falls, is it unremarkably good? Is it unremarkably bad? I have to say it is unremarkably bad. It is that kind of typical telenovela-ish vibe with the stock characters, you know, the usual suspect. You've got the depressed teenager, you've got the sleazy colleague who's after the hot girl at work, you've got the short-fused criminals, you've got the criminal with daddy issues. There's one black character in the show, and of course she is a self-proclaimed witch, and she's wearing a discombobulated assortment of African print clothing and bright obnoxious makeup. So that in itself tells you what you can expect from this series. And after I saw that, I was just like, I think I'm done with this series, y'all. From that description, I feel like you can tell it's one of those ones. And don't get me wrong, I love a good telenovela-ish vibe, but at the very least I'd like it to be entertaining, and this unfortunately just was not entertaining. It was not funny at all. To my taste anyway. There isn't really much going on. It was a pretty simple storyline, but even with the small amount of time that we had, I still feel like they could have cut it down to a 1 hour 20-minute movie, because there isn't really much going on, but somehow they managed to stretch it out for 7 episodes. In terms of the characters and the acting, I feel like the acting was actually pretty solid considering the type of script they were working with. I think they did the best that they could with the material that they were given, so I couldn't really fault the acting, to be honest. In terms of the production was a bit of it was barely basic in my opinion. It was very static. The set, you could tell that they were filming on a set most of the time, and the look of it looked a bit grainy on my screen as well. I'd be interested to hear what it looked like for other people who watched it, because I feel like the quality wasn't that great. It looked a bit grainy in some sections, for me anyway. Like, there was just so many things that just looked very cheap and unprofessional. You know, the soundtrack was pretty basic. It sounded very archivey. It didn't sound very creative. There was some action in there, but the action wasn't that great. The choreography was really bad. There was one fight scene where it just looked so fake and the editing was so bad in it. I think overall I would not recommend this season. I think this is definitely going to be a season that people might think maybe I should check this out, and I just think keep that maybe, don't bother watching it unless you want a bad time. It was bad, objectively bad. Like, it wasn't like a mixed bag or anything. There wasn't really anything that I liked about this season. I think it's probably the worst thing I've ever watched on Netflix, in my opinion. So I think, taking everything into consideration, I'm going to give this series a 1 out of 5, which is my first 1 out of 5. So congratulations to this series for being my first 1 out of 5. It was really bad. They did leave the door open for season 2, but I don't think this season 2 is coming. But yeah, be interested to hear from you guys. If you haven't watched it yet, was this something that you were kind of thinking about watching but you weren't sure? Is anyone still kind of interested in watching this to verify what I'm saying is true or whether I'm being too harsh? And if you have watched it, do let me know what you thought of it. Do you agree with me? Do you not? I would actually be interested to hear from people who actually enjoyed it. And please let me know what you enjoyed about it as well. And let me know what you'd rate this out of 5. And of course, let me know what you thought of my review. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to press that notification bell so you know when the next review is dropping. I'm almost at my short-term goal of 1.3 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate if you help me reach that goal. Till next time, guys. Bye.